Okay, good morning. Welcome to the third day of the OpenFOAM workshop. And now I will introduce the first keynote speaker this morning, Professor João Miguel Nobrega. Professor Nobrega is a associate professor at the Polymer Engineering Department within the University of Minho and a member of the Institute for Polymers and Composites. He completed his PhD in polymer science and engineering from the University of Minho in 2004. He is the area leader in digital transformation in manufacturing for the MIT Portugal program. In addition, he serves as the editor of the OpenFOAM journal and a founding member of the Iberian OpenFOAM technology users, and it is a part of the OpenFOAM workshop committee. His research focuses on three interconnected domains: product development, polymer processing, and material rheology. Let's welcome the speaker.
Okay, thank you. It's important for the community. A first word of acknowledgement for the organizers of this incredible conference, Professor Ji Cheng and his team has been doing a remarkable work in this organization. So, OpenFOAM Journal. I'm one of the persons that is involved in the project. There are many persons working for the journal, as I will explain you in my presentation. So, first of all, the motivation. Why? Why did we started the OpenFOAM Journal? We are here, we are in a conference, we have, it's a way we have to communicate the work we do. We are in the OpenFOAM workshop, there is the OpenFOAM conference that took place some years. Hopefully it will return soon. There are a number of local user meetings, but there was not. The journal was always a missing entity in the OpenFOAM journal community, in the OpenFOAM community. So at that time we decided to start, and obviously we got the support of the steering committee. The journal was an initiative of the technical committee for documentation and tutorials. And we got the support of the steering committee and the OpenFOAM governance. And here I should not forget to mention Fred Mendonça for his importance in this cooperation with the journal. As you heard yesterday, he had a small health issue. Hopefully we'll get better soon and we'll be together again soon. So some details about the OpenFOAM journal. It's a peer-reviewed journal, a regular peer-reviewed journal. It's published exclusively online, and there are two major keystones for the journal: benefits for the community and reproducibility. And I will try to show you that we take it seriously regarding reproducibility, and it's not as most of the journals you know. It's free to publish and free to access. So you can access the website and get the OpenFOAM journal. And the authors retain the copyright of everything that is published in the journal, and we get a small sponsorship. Since the beginning, it was initially Compute that was recently acquired by Etnor and Upstream CFT. They have been with us since the beginning, mainly to cover the costs of hosting the OpenFOAM journal. We have one open volume per year, so I've been doing it since 2021. Since it's an electronic and open volume journal, the papers are immediately added after the acceptance, and there are three major sections. The full papers, I will give you some details afterwards, but the full papers, the technical notes, and the review papers. So we envisage to have these papers that fit in one of those sections. We have a DOI, ISSN. The impact factor is always an issue. We are doing our best to have the impact factor for the journal. We want to apply to have the impact factor, but it's something that we need to be sure that we don't fail the criteria, otherwise we will not be allowed to apply for some time. So we want to be sure that we fulfill all the conditions before doing it. The workflow of the journal follows a regular journal. So there is the submission, then the paper is screened by one of the editors, and afterwards a section editor is assigned to that paper. Then there is a review process. Most of the papers are reviewed in a double-blind approach. So neither the reviewers know the authors nor the authors know the reviewers. In some cases there are exceptions because the information is public, so it's quite difficult to hide, to keep the name of the authors closed. And after a number of iterations in review with the reviewers, the paper enters in production and it's published. So regular work. There is a team taking direct care of the journal, talking about persons that the names for sure you recognize from the OpenFOAM community. We try to cover the different areas of the OpenFOAM journal. And we also have the help of a huge list of persons involved in editorial advisory board that we also try to have persons that are representative of the community, of the work that is done with OpenFOAM. The editorial advisory board are actively involved in the review process of the papers, but we don't limit the review of the papers to the editorial advisory board. There are many other persons involved. So the journal has a template. We tend to have in the past more than one. Currently we have just one LaTeX template. All the papers have been submitted with this template. And there are author guidelines and reviewer guidelines. Regarding the LaTeX template, it's also a community project. We tend to welcome contributions. If you take a look to the template, if you have any contributions to the template, please feel free to provide them to us. We welcome any improvements that the community believes it's required. The website of the journal is a minimalist website. We are using the Open Journal Systems framework. It's an open source framework to manage journals. Works quite well. We have all the functionalities that are required to manage a journal. Details about the papers I will give at the last slides. More information now to let you know which kind of data you can find in a paper. But okay, this is what you get when you enter in the journal: the cover, papers, announcements that are not shown here, and the papers with graphical abstracts. We have also a YouTube channel, and in the YouTube channel, in addition to the guidelines, we have the video abstracts for the papers, for the ones that the authors recorded, the video abstracts. And we also have the recordings of the OpenFOAM workshop. That is all the workshops since OpenFOAM workshop 16. We have the recordings in the YouTube channel, and this is also a very good source of information for the OpenFOAM community. Give you an idea of the activity of the YouTube channel. We have above 75,000 views and above 2,500 subscribers. Also, we have a LinkedIn channel. It's quite active. Usually, we tend to have a weekly post in the LinkedIn. And we have in LinkedIn about 8,000 followers. So as you can see, the community is quite involved in the journal, and it's actively contributing to the journal. We tend to have also a newsletter. We try to avoid overloading your mailbox, but we have a newsletter. We try to have the main highlights of the journal, and every 2-3 months we send a newsletter. The previous one was sent in May 2024, and the next one will be sent in July or August. Regarding the journal itself, so we have above 1,000 registered users, and one quite relevant detail that shows the involvement of the community. The number of reviewers that applied, above 570 reviewers. So the persons that registered, they apply to be reviewers. So this is a relevant help to help us maintaining the quality of the publications in the journal. So far, we have 30 papers published, 2 are in production, so soon we'll have 32 papers, and there are 14 manuscripts under review. So give you an idea of the acceptance rate. So far, we have about 50% acceptance rate, and this number refers to the papers that are actually reviewed. So there are a number of papers that do not fulfill the journal scope, or the persons are not interested in sharing the data. So it's they don't pass the initial screening. These are the numbers related to the views of the different papers we have so far, and I would like to highlight this one. We have for the papers above 80,000 views in the journal. So again, another number that I believe shows clearly the impact of the journal in the community, which is, in my opinion, quite nice, because it's a reward of the effort that has been made by a large group of persons involved in the journal. Which information can you find in the journal, and why the journal is a bit different from what you see in the regular scientific community? This is the paper itself in the OpenFOAM journal, and for every paper we have, there is a thread in CFT Online. So it means after publication, there is a channel to be in direct contact with the authors. And if there is any question, post it in CFT Online, the authors or anyone else can answer, and information is available for everyone, which is useful to improve the quality, to detect any issues, correct problems that are identified, and so on. So there is a DOI. Every paper has a DOI. So far, you can find the PDF, and this is something that it's not common. So the discussion forum, but also the abstract video. I'm sorry. And this is usually different. And for every paper, we have the codes, if there are codes published, and the case studies. So anyone can download the case studies, run the problems, test, and check the results. If there is a code, if there are utilities, you can work and start your work based on those utilities. You can improve what was published and start your work based on that. And for all the papers that have case studies or codes, you find that information in the journal. And this is an important contribution for the community as well. At least this is our opinion. Then there is instructions on how to cite the papers, the section, and the copyright that, as I mentioned before, is provided to it's written by the users. We have a subscription in COSREF to get the DOIs, and we also have access to a similarity tool, so we tend to avoid plagiarism, and we want to be sure to promote the quality of the journal. We use the Authenticate tool, and we screen every paper with the Authenticate tool. Another detail of involvement with the community are the covers. For every volume, at the beginning of the year, we have a temporary cover, and by the end of the year, from the papers that were actually published, we select the cover, the final cover of the journal. And you see here the temporary cover for 2023, the permanent cover for 2023, and the temporary cover we have for 2024. Okay? So this is another way to contribute to the journal, and the community is asked to vote to select the best covers, temporary or permanent covers, and are invited to submit eye-catching images about the work done with OpenFOAM. So every year, pay attention to our communication channels, and we should if you have images that you believe should appear in the journal, please share them with us. Something new we are just starting is the reproducibility review, and it's currently under implementation. As I mentioned, we have codes and we have case studies. What is done now at this moment is we have mainly this phase. Either the reviewers or someone from the editorial board checks if the code runs, does an overall and quick check to the code, and assures that the case studies runs and the results are the same of the ones published in the paper. What we expect to have is soon a second phase, that in addition to the phase 1 reproducibility check, will involve the community as well. So after publication, every paper will have an open phase of reproducibility check by the community. And the purpose is to have, after a number of successful reviews, to provide to the paper the reproducibility badge. We are still defining how to have this the code hosting platform, because we need to provide access to everyone to allow them to run the cases, to be sure that it can be done smoothly without any issues. And we are still defining the strategies. There are a number of ideas, but we didn't decide for one yet, but it's something we'd like to have. We'll have it soon. And again, another involvement and contribution from the community. So, to have time for some questions from your side. What I would ask to have from your side. First, registering the website so we can start receiving communications from the journal. Obviously, submit your contributions and apply to review manuscripts. This is a very important contribution from the community. If you feel comfortable in certain areas, give your name in your name. You should identify the areas you are familiarized with, and volunteer as a reviewer. Then you can be selected. You can be invited to review papers. If you have the time, obviously, accept to review papers, because this is the way to assure the quality of the journal, the quality of the publications. I'm also organizing a Bird of a Feather session tomorrow afternoon. If you have any ideas you'd like to share, any recommendations for the journal, obviously they are very welcome. It's a community-driven project, and everyone is welcome to be involved in the journal. So, before finishing, I would like to hear from you. What you like, what you don't like about the journal, what should we keep, what should be changed, and any ideas, as I mentioned, are very welcome. Okay? And one important contribution for the journal is your publication. If you have work associated to OpenFOAM and you want to give the work some visibility, I'm pretty sure this is the correct channel. So, thank you very much, and I'm obviously available to answer any questions you might have.
All right.
There is one.
So there's one in the audience. A question?
Thank you very much for the information of the OpenFOAM journal. So I just like to know how about the existing contribution of the for the submission. For example, I already contributed some solver. Can we submit such kind of the existing contribution solver to this as a new submission?
Works that are already published in other journals?
I already published. Not published yet, but contributed to the OpenFOAM main and GitHub.
Okay. Yeah, any contributions are welcome. So if it's it's a useful channel to have a publication associated to the code. I believe in the past it was quite difficult to share information, to explain the code, to have it in a formal way. But this is in this journal you can use OpenFOAM syntax, OpenFOAM language. because the community understands what you say. Something you cannot publish, you cannot describe in the other journals. We are even considering the possibility of having associated journals where the regular paper that is done with the code, with studies made with the code, are published in those journals, but the OpenFOAM related stuff is published in the OpenFOAM journal.
I see. Thank you very much.
But even if you have a code that is already published, is already public, you can publish. You can create a publication useful for the community that is added to the journal.
I see. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. There are two issues I would like to raise. I see on CFD Online forum a discussion related to the journals, but I also see a LinkedIn page for the journal.
Mm-hmm.
What do you consider to be the preferred way to communicate with the authors concerning the publication?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe the LinkedIn is mainly a one-way communication. So we advertise about the journal, we can exchange ideas, but technical stuff definitely CFD Online, and we can use the CFD Online thread that is a specific thread for the journal to discuss anything related to the journal. If you have specific recommendations for the template, for instance, GitHub is the proper place to add it. So technical stuff, CFD Online, associated to the papers, definitely CFD Online. In LinkedIn, we are mainly using it to advertise the journal activities.
Thank you very much. That solves that first issue. Concerning the issue of the reproducibility of the software, I do imagine it's a big burden as a reviewer to take care of the reproducibility issue. However, there was a wonderful workshop yesterday afternoon on how to automate a part of the reproducibility of the software using a continuous integration via GitHub. Are you considering those techniques to ease the check on reproducibility of the software?
Is also considering. I'm not aware of because I was giving a course as well, but obviously I'll take a look to what was discussed, and clearly those approaches are welcome. Anything that facilitates the work of everyone is very welcome.
Sure. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Miguel. Thank you for your information, which quite very informative. And I'm wondering, how long it will take for each paper from its submission to acceptance, on average, if everything goes well. Yeah.
It depends. Usually, I will tell you which are our deadlines. We receive the paper. Usually, in the framework of 1 week, the paper is screened by the editor, is assigned to a section editor that grabs immediately the paper and invites the reviewers. We usually give 1 month to the review process. We recommend to have 1 month for the review process, to have time enough for the reviewers to assess the manuscripts that are submitted. That's one of the limitations, because sometimes the reviewers take more time than 1 month, but it's a volunteer work, so it's quite difficult. We'll try to push them as much as possible, but we understand that sometimes 1 month is not enough. It's difficult to give you an average number, but currently it's taking a few months, so I would say 2-3 months for the first to get the first review process finished. So about, I would say, 6 months is so far at this moment. But if we involve more persons, we divide more the work, everything will be done faster. But there are no limitations to that, providing we have enough persons and persons that can respond fast. Usually, another detail, sorry, that helps. Usually we invite for every paper 5 reviewers. After the deadline, if we have 3 answers and there are enough to have a decision, we decide based on that. So, and we acknowledge the support of the reviewers that did not answer, but we proceed.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We could do it much faster, obviously, if we have faster response from the reviews. Sometimes are the authors that, in a few exceptions, are the authors that take longer to review their papers.
Okay. Do we have more questions? Actually, I have one. In the current status of the journal, so we're still trying to get an impact factor recognized. But is it already in the the scientific citations index?
It's the problem of the impact factor is that they are not really clear. The publishers not really clear on, for instance, that requirement. They have a number of qualitative requirements, but then there is a group of persons that will decide if the application proceeds or not. So actually, the numbers are not clear. So if we add somewhere, okay, in order to have the impact factor, you should have this number of citations or in this range. They don't provide that number. We believe that in some cases, like Scopus, we fulfill, but we are still not sure. We are still trying to assess that possibility. And the main problem is that there is an embargo period. If we don't succeed, then we need to wait 3 years before applying again, and that's one we would like to avoid.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea to promote this, and I do feel in a lot of the OpenFOAM papers published in other journals, the works based on OpenFOAM. So the papers themselves focus more on the physics behind the problem, but there's a lot of numerical details missing. I think the OpenFOAM journal would be a good place. So you can have, say you have a wonderful work, you can have 2 papers now. You can publish one in the journal of your own field, and then detail your implementation, your testing, your workflow, and everything, and your data. And then you have a second paper. So I think that's always a rewarding thing for the student. Right? It's a great motivation. So I think this should be encouraged, and it helps a lot the journal growth as well.
Thank you for the support, and also I would like to emphasize the visibility. The numbers we have for the visibility of the papers are significant. So if you want to have your work to promote your work in the community, the OpenFOAM journal is also a good way to do it, to share the work, and to get additional co-workers, additional persons to work with you in a certain area. And the numbers are clear. Every month we get about 3,000, above 3,000 views. And we don't publish that number of papers every month. So every paper is immediately seen by the community when it's published.
Okay, I think it's about time. Before you go off, have a